Oh, got me. What's up, friends? Today I am going to be getting back into this weather app that we've been building on using OpenWeather API, Appify, geolocation API, and deploying to Akamai EdgeWorkers. So where did we take off yesterday? Here we are. Good news is I got that black and white screen thing fixed. So now our black and white app is no longer stuck in black and white mode, which may not be a big deal. Um, wouldn't be a big deal, except that we do want the colors for our syntax highlighting. So where are we also is yes, I guess today before jumping on the stream, I went ahead and fixed some of the type definitions that we had before because that's just kind of an annoying little issue that I don't want people to watch me fix necessarily. Um, but functionally, nothing has changed. So with those type definitions things in place, we can see we've got some red squigglies just because ESLint and Prettier kind of don't know how to work things out sometimes. But besides that, we can see that we have three red squigglies there, and those correspond with our undefined in our min and max and cloudiness. So let's see if we can fix that. The current temperature has available for us clouds. So we've got clouds. What is clouds here? It's a number, which I'm guessing is a percentage. Oh, snap. What up, Ben? Were you around on the stream yesterday? I don't know what the heck happened, but my whole both my screens went black and white and I was just stuck in yeah, that's all good. But I was stuck in some what's it called? Uh what was that old show? The sci-fi show? You know what I'm talking about. It's all black and white and now I'm gonna no, not the X Files. X Files was good. Now it was like this dude would walk up and be like, "Imagine the Twilight Zone." Heck yeah! On top of it, I was stuck in a Twilight Zone episode where everything was just black and white for no reason. Did get it sorted out. I think a computer restart did the trick, but that's hard to pull off midstream. Yeah, we had some TypeScript errors too because we basically refactored this app. I think you were probably around for it, but we refactored this app to use the OpenWeather API, which has one endpoint that gives us the current weather, and then it has a different endpoint to get like every 3 hours or like 5 days at every 3 hour intervals. But they have this one that actually has the current weather, a little bit of the hourly forecast, and the daily forecast, which is exactly what we want for this application anyway. So I had to refactor my app, but in doing that, the response has changed. So I had some type definitions for the old type of response, and now I've got to figure out how to do it for the new one. So if we look at what's available on this weather data object, weather data object has the current weather, the daily, the hourly, the latitude, longitude, the minutely, time zone, and time zone offset. So I'm mostly just interested in currently, daily, and hourly. And then the current temperature or the current thing data doesn't have the minimum or the maximum. It has this temperature, but I think that is just the number. So that's like the current temperature. And we want the daily minimum and maximum. So I think what we'll do is we can actually go, let's see. Let's get both of these and replace those with the dot daily, which is an array. And since we're just doing the current day, I think we can get away with doing the daily at 0. And then let's see, the first item dot, and then that's going to give us information about the temperature. And I think that's an object that has day, eve, max, and min. So then we can just get rid of the temp underscore, and we should have fixed that issue. So that is today's temperature. So with that, we should have gotten, see, a city that does exist. Cool. For West Sigmund, we've got a today's min is 19, max is 41, feels like 36. Wind speed, okay, the current temperature is 40, but it feels like 36. We've got min and max. So all that is fixed, and the cloudiness is 0%, which I guess that's what cloudiness means. Okay, so with our data all sort of massaged out and kind of worked out on this layout, now it's time to actually make it not look like butt. And we've like done a little bit of that, but it's time to do a bit more of that. So unfortunately, with EdgeWorkers, I think most of my styles have to kind of happen here. CSS time, baby. Rugmat, you know what's up. And you know what? You get to write the first, you get to make the first decision. What are we doing to make this pretty? You tell me. It's like, all right, it's functional, it's utilitarian. What do we got? Any ideas? Maybe some padding on the edge, maybe some spacing in between these sections, maybe actually making those sections. That would be kind of cool, right? We'll keep with H1 is there. And then right here. If we have weather data, we'll do a section. And then here, you know what I'm going to do? No, you don't. Okay. There you go. And you know what I'm going to do. And then right here, you know what I'm going to do? GitHub, you there with me? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Cool. And cool. That's done. We need to line these up because that's kind of the annoying thing. Right now, I still have to just work with these strings. This isn't even looking very good. Man, this stuff totally kills me. Is this little dance of ESLint versus prettier? I think I might just do like a quick fix to fix this prettier problem. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to quick fix disable prettier for this line. Cool. And then that is not quite right. I want to disable prettier for this whole section. How do you disable with ESLint? Like until I re-enable it? Shoot, that's got to be in some JavaScript too. Man, this may not work out so well. ESLint enable. Nope. So Rugmat, still waiting on you for that CSS stuff. Where are we taking these styles? Don't know. All right, that's cool. We can disable ESLint disable. So I wonder if it. To have the syntax right, don't I? I wonder if it's just because it's inside of these blocks. Or it's possible that it's not the right comment style. Okay, that was it. Cool. So with that, if I hit save, is ESLint going to fix it for me? Kind of, not really. And you're still thinking prettier is a thing. That's annoying. That's really annoying. All right, well, I'm not going to bother with that then. We'll just get the red squigglies. So with styles, let's look at this. I think the first thing that stands out to me is I kind of want to push some stuff off of the edge. So on the body, and I'm just going to say that my CSS preference right now is probably with Atomic CSS, not necessarily Tailwind, but Atomic CSS. So I'm going to stick with a P dash, and then I like to be very explicit of the number of pixels that we're using. So padding, and how many pixels do I want? Probably, let's say like 16. And then I like to do a little bit of magic here and say padding is going to be 16 divided by 16 rem, which I get is like very obvious that that's like one rem. I could do that math in my head. But as I add more of these, I can probably, actually, I'm going to go ahead and do it right now, is use some JavaScript magic to say, well, we'll start with, let's see, 16, right? And then we'll do that, map the size, and then we're going to return padding with size, and then size divided by 16 rem, and then that should be the end of my string. That should be the end of that, and then no. Do I have that right or wrong? We've got to close this. Okay, now I think I've got that. Replace size with that. Okay. And because, so this is the other error that I ran into yesterday that I had to figure out was when you map, and this is going to be maybe obvious as I say it, but when you have an array and you map over it, let's see what this looks like right now. If I refresh, oh, page isn't working because, why aren't you working? Oh, no, it was working. Just taking some time to reload, I suppose. Okay, so are we going to see it in here? In the head? No, we are not. Oh, and that's because I only have a single item. So if I say like 4, 8, 16, I don't know, 32, right? And those are like the spacing units I want to have. Then if we reload, no. Okay, in my head, I am still not going to see it. So I'll just explain what the problem was down here, somewhere down here in our daily weather, we were mapping over this data. And because a map returns an array, I was actually presenting the data here as an array of strings, which were then separated by commas, because if you do something like an array of hi, hello, and that gets converted. Well, I think if you maybe do like string plus that, that's what we were getting. We were taking a string of HTML and concatenating it to the return of this array, which is a string. But in fact, this is not a string that we were returning. We were returning a map value, which is an array of strings. And so what we had to do to solve that was just do a join there so that we end up with just a string as the result. Of course, we could have used reduce, which I wonder if like that had me wondering how React kind of handles it. Well, I guess React kind of works with children, which would be React under the hood is JSX, which converts it to objects, which if it finds an array of objects, it probably just concatenates those as strings anyway. Anyway, that was a fun little problem to figure out. Join or reduce would work. Yeah, reduce might be all right. Reduce might not be such a bad choice here, but I try to avoid it. So, and this isn't so bad. Anyway, we got rid of those commas that were down here. So now that we have our little utility classes that we're building up as we build this page, I don't need these. So kind of a little bit wasteful, but cool to show as an example on how we can build out utility classes. And work with that. This I'm going to really don't like some of this. Maybe I should just like, oh, where am I? Yeah, you should be return and then return and then do that. And how's that look when we fix that? Okay, this is looking a little bit nicer, right? A little bit easier to grasp. I like that this is on the same line. So we take the size and we return this. Can even put that up there. Happy with that. That looks good. Okay, so we've got our utilities. So on the body, I think, or maybe on the main, we want to give this a class equals padding of 16, we were saying. Reload that. And we're not seeing that. Class is padding 16, head. Where are my styles? Okay, I have some sort of issue here. Once again, that's exactly the problem that I was trying to show, in fact. You see how here we have the P4 and then the comma right after the, in between the bracket and the next array declaration. That's because I need to, join. I guess I could join with a new line. Doesn't really matter to me. Technically, it's going to be faster if I don't add that new line, but who cares? And there we go. There's our padding on our main section. Now, I think I also want to take these sizing units, and because padding and margin kind of work sort of the same, we can actually maybe like reuse these padding units or these sizing units. I'm actually, instead of size, I'm going to call those space. So I think that's more representative of what they are. So we've got padding. I also want to do something with, no, stop it. Margin, please. Margin with the space, margin, space and pixels. Sure, that's not quite right, but thanks for the try. Same sort of thing. That's going to be rem units. Any questions? Anyone interested on why we're using rem units? I can answer that too. And we also want to actually probably do like a two-dimensional array here where we're going to do Well, I want to do top right, bottom left. I think I'm just going to keep it simple. And yeah, margin. Let's do this. Yep. We've got margin bottom because that's what I'm needing right now. Cool. I should probably pull this out into like a styles or utility classes file, but for now we'll just work with what we've got. So we've got margin bottom. Let's make these a little bit easier to live with. So our heading, H1, we want class equals margin bottom of maybe 8. And then this sort of spacing looks all right. Looks like we already have, where's that margin coming? Oh, because right. So this one already has some margin because the library that I'm using is, well, the sort of reset style that I'm using is this Bedrocks thing. And it's actually another library that I maintain that does something kind of what I think is clever, where we say anything that's like these block level sort of content elements, if they're followed by another content style element, that second element will get a margin top. And shoot, look at that. Bad habits. This should not be margin bottom. This should be margin block end, I think, to be consistent with these new CSS features that we have available to us. So let's see. Yep. Margin block end looks good. And then, yeah, this paragraph has this margin block start of 1 rem because it comes immediately after an H2. So kind of a nice, convenient way of managing content flow there. And I think the same applies for the table. The table's right after a paragraph, so we get a little bit of spacing there. Tables probably need some work too. Table rows should have maybe a line between them, maybe some spacing as well. Give them some breathing room. So, well, let's fix up the rest of these sections first. Let's see. Section here, I'm going to do class equals, actually, I'm going to get both of these at the same time. I'm going to do class equals margin top. Well, we don't have the margin top thing, so let's actually do, where's my section? H1, here it is. Section, grab the next section, do class equals margin bottom of 32. And see what we got here. Cork review. Okay, now we've got some breathing room, right? Maybe want some more breathing room under the hourly forecast and the daily forecast. Where are my H2s? You. And no, not that one. I want just this one. And the next one is going to be class of margin bottom of 8, I think. Man, design stuff is kind of tricky with text because sometimes you want the stuff bumping up right underneath, or you kind of want, sometimes you want text to, like, the space of the element to actually represent the space of the text. So here, like, I've got this blue box. Technically, I've got a little bit of extra space above the top of the text. And then the blue box got to the same amount of space below the bottom of most of the text, but on these danglers, they actually go outside of the space of the box, which is why if this guy doesn't have these classes, and if this div, if the okay, now can I? Okay, let's grab this. If this div didn't also have that sort of blue bounding box, like they would kind of be bumping up right one. Well, the Y would be overlapping the time there. So text is weird, line height is weird, font size is weird, but you know, we work with what we got. I think there's some cool stuff coming to the browser to fix that too. But it's not there yet. So let's get a city that we know exists. Hourly forecast, daily forecast. How do we feel about centering text? Do we like centered text? Keeping in mind that most of this information is probably going to look more like this sort of screen size. All right, RugMatt jumping in. But there are many lines. Add alternating color to every line. Yeah, I like that. So do we? I guess we want to do that just for tables, right? Because most of this is in tables. So yeah, that's a really good idea. Because then the one line across is a good separator, but sometimes you forget which line you're on as you look. So we'll do that with some CSS. I think we'll do. Well, let's get started here, right? These are utility classes. They're using the class notation. So I like to put my utilities after my HTML just tag styles. So I'm thinking I could style each of these tables and give them a class of like some sort of background color. Or I could just target the row. And I'm not sure which one I want to do, because if I do just the tag, then that might get weird if we ever want to shift. No, I think that'll be fine. We'll do that. So we're going to say that the table row, nth child even. Look at this. It even knows what we want. Are you going to tell me? You're going to tell me the colors I want even? Cool. Nth child even. That's pretty cool. Oops. And then we should see something change. There we go. We see the change. So now we got a problem that it gave us a color that's too light. And the interesting thing here is we have to make a decision, because right now the body supports a dark theme. And you see how the background changes from dark to white, and then the text also changes from white to dark. That's just because we're defining at the root this color scheme. So if we hard code a value like whatever this is, this sort of light gray, then the problem is when the color scheme changes, and that's all based on my user preferences. I prefer dark mode. So CSS is saying, cool, we support dark mode, and the browser is kind of handling that automatically. If we want to support light and dark mode, we either have to use a CSS media query to detect if we're in light mode or if we're in dark mode and kind of work accordingly, or maybe there's something else we can do. So I'm thinking there's like CSS color names, and I want to look for canvas and canvas text, I think. Define color values. Is this going to point me to all the ones that are available? It's probably not the time yet to use these. Okay, I get it. Okay, here we go. These are the ones that I want to look at. So we have some different values when you use system colors. This is it. Okay, so this is super cool. Even CSS working group has that detection that I prefer dark. Two special colors. Where is it? I may just have to go back to that article. Let's see, canvas text. Okay, so here is from the CSS working group all of the values that are kind of built in for this. And I do think that we can actually grab this button text or button face might be a good choice, which I think because I'm on a dark mode, this is going to be like the background of a button and this is the text value of a button. Whereas if I'm in light mode, this is that light gray and this would be black. So there's also like inputs, gray text, disabled text, cool. No, there's like input, like field. Okay, field and field text. Those are for like text inputs or whatever. I think this button face and button text is a good choice. So if we want to alternate and we want the background color of these, I think just matching the button color is probably fine. So we want button face, right? Okay, so let's go back to what we've got here. And we're doing button face, which is a darker value. And we're just falling back to the default canvas text value for the text on top. So there you go. That's the gray that we get from built-in buttons on dark mode. That's the white that we get from the canvas. And if we go to disable support for dark mode, then we still get the background color for buttons on light mode and the foreground color for buttons on light mode. So pretty good, right? We're still supporting light mode and dark mode without hard coding anything or doing any media queries. I'm pretty happy with that. That was a really good suggestion, and we got to play around with some cool modern CSS stuff. I also want to give these things some breathing room, and I wonder what's the best way to do that. I know that there's cell spacing. CSS cell spacing. Cell padding and cell spacing. Yeah, okay, that's like built-in attributes. Border collapse. Border spacing, 30 pixels. Yeah, okay, so I think padding might be the right choice. Let's try that. This is the annoying thing. Tables are, for wind direction, add an arrow that is rotated by the degree. Yeah, totally agree. I would like to do that. I think that may be on a different stream because I kind of want to get some layout stuff, and then and then after that, maybe we can work on the whimsical things. So let me add some spacing to these things, maybe some borders too, because once I add these spacings, right, I'm gonna go, hey, table headers and table datas, you all are going to get, line center, not necessarily. Y'all are going to get some padding as well of 0.5 rem, exactly what I wanted. No, not what I wanted. 0.25 rem is what I want. being totally inconsistent with my stuff here, but I think that's okay. So with this, we should have about 4 pixels of padding, giving everything a little bit more breathing room. Happy with that. Happier with that. Now the problem is we don't have any borders on things. So we have this weird, like, we have this, like, if I increase this to, whoop, Chrome, you're killing me with these new things that you're letting us do. If I increase this to 0.5 rems, then we get this weird, like, misalignment where, especially on this first cell, uh, the text doesn't align with like the edge of the text here, and that's because it aligns with the edge of the table. So I think I'm going to bring in some borders. Do I want to bring in borders? Padding is that. Border is, let's see, 1 pixel solid. That's all right, I guess. Feels a little bit, it feels a little bit official. Like a little bit like I'm looking at accounting stuff. But we could do a border like bottom, right? So then it kind of goes all the way to the edge. Any thoughts on that? How do we like? I'm kind of feeling the border in between. Less border is good, but is just a little bit of border good? Like just one on the bottom. What do we think? Bottom is good. Cool. We agree. Okay, so, and the cool thing here is, once again, so padding, I like to put border above my padding. The other cool thing here, and you know what? This isn't quite what I want either. This is going to be annoying, but I need my padding there, and I want table row, not last child, should work. And I feel like we can do maybe some modern CSS for this. I'm gonna move that down there. That's gonna be the border. And basically what I want to do is capture both of these, like both of these inside of this. I think has might be what I want. Let's see. CSS has. Oh, I don't think I can use this yet. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. There may not be a good way to nest that. Well, that's all right. We'll just do this. Do that. TD, open that up. And that's all right. So that should knock off the border from the last guy on the bottom of the list. There we go. Less border, right? We just want it in between. And that's looking good. Then what were you saying? So let's do one more check. Oh yeah, the other cool thing here is because we're just defining the border top or the border bottom, the size and the style, we're not defining the color. It's going to inherit the color of the element, which means when the text is white, borders are white. When the text is black, borders are black. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty cool. We got a little problem there with our clouds showing up on a white background, but not much we can do about that. Those I want to replace as well with our own icons or emojis or something more interesting. But it's pretty convenient that OpenWeather provides that for us out of the box. Okay, so this is looking much better. Text center on these things. What do we think? I'm not sure I'm going to feel about that. Let's add the H2 text align center. I mean, it's all right. It's very like small screen centric, I think. I also think what I'm going to do is replace this so that my spacers make a little bit more sense. We're going to pull this information out. Or I guess, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I wanted to do. We're actually going to leave that as an H2 and pull current weather out. So we've got the location information first. And that's going to be, that's actually going to be before this section. And then inside of each section, I want my H3 with a class of, class equals, what is it? Margin bottom 8, I think is what I was using. And then we'll do current weather, H3. Okay. These all need to come over a bit. Wait, where's my section lining up? Yeah, all right. That should technically be there. Okay, so I want to change my H2s to H3s is what I'm trying to get to. H2, 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 H2 should be H3. Okay. Let's put some space under that H2. Class equals margin bottom of, I'm going to go with a full 32 on that one. So we've got some space between the title of the app, the location and date of where you're looking at, the current weather conditions, the hourly forecast, and the daily forecast. Boy, I think this is starting to look pretty good. I'm feeling pretty happy with this app already. What's the next thing we want to do? We definitely want to tackle that wind direction because this is absolutely useless. We probably don't have enough time to get on that today, and I kind of want to maybe explore some solutions to think about. It would be cool to take the wind speed and the wind direction out of this table and put it up maybe with like a little icon up here. Maybe we can even take this feels like out of here. I think I want to highlight a little bit more of the temperature. But yeah, this is looking good so far. Much better already. Okay, my daily forecast. I think I want to change my daily forecast to be instead of vertical scrolling, I want to go horizontal scrolling. And that may be each day is its own table, or probably each day is a column on the same table. And so it would actually be like a two-dimensional table where we have the days across the top, and then the the keys or metrics across the left side, and then the values for each. So let's start laying that out at least in the time that we've got. So I've got a table, and for each day, my the first cell of the first row should be empty, because that's going to have the T head. And then inside of T head, we've got the first row. And then we're going to have, yeah, that's not quite right. But we're going to have, okay, you can, what's the best way to do an empty cell? Is it just to do this? I might do that for now. Okay, so empty cell for which? So it's going to be like columns and rows, right? And the very first column or the very first row is going to be the list of dates. And the very first column is going to be the keys for the values that I want to fill in. And then the second row and the second column is where the actual data is going to exist. So that first row and first column really just needs to be empty, because there's nothing to put there. Maybe I'll just like mock it out. I think I might mock this out really quick. So let me just cut that and just paste it down here and comment it so I've got it when I need it. It's going to look like this, right? We've got that. Sure, we've got two things, and then table row closes, table head closes, T body opens. That's not what I want. Table row. Yeah, sure. Today. Oh man, sometimes these things are really helpful and sometimes they're really not. I want. What am I doing? First value is yeah. Okay, it knows what I'm doing. And this is like 1, 2, 3, right? And then 1, 2, 3. Sure. And then that. And then that would be the first day. No, technically not. Well, let me see if I got this right anyway. Okay, yeah. Basically, this is kind of what I'm imagining, right? And let's, this section, let's put some margin bottom 32, just so we've got some breathing room down there. And today should actually be like the temp, and this should be like 1-1- whatever 2000, and this should be 1-2-2000, right? Something like that. So then what we end up with is the temperature for this day and for this day. And then the next line would be whatever. We need to close the T body. Yeah. where this is like min and this is like max. Right. So this is kind of what I'm thinking might be a better layout for having the multiple days. Instead of scanning down for the days, I'm scanning left to right where I've got the first day and then the second day and then the third day, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. What do you think? I think for hours, it makes sense having it vertical. And maybe for days it does too, but love to hear your opinion on it. In the meantime, I'm going to get rid of weather there. I'm going to get rid of hourly or the forecast, make it a little bit less info. Cool. Current, hourly, daily. Love it. Rugmat, you still there? The empty cell I was talking about was this little fella. This, you know what the other layout option might be for this is, I think you can do tables within tables. I don't think I want to do that. But yeah, I'm wondering if this is the correct way to do sort of that space right there. Doesn't make sense to have any data in it because only at the second column do we start capturing the dates, and only at the second row do we start accounting for which measurements we're trying to pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? So, two questions. Do you think this is the correct design that we want? Yeah, I think it's fine if it's empty too. But do you think this makes sense as having, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5 horizontal, which is probably going to mean like a horizontal scroll bar situation? Or does it make sense to kind of have a vertical scrolling where temperature, min, max, like that's all across the top, and then the dates are here along the sides? Any thoughts on that? I can probably get a side-by-side example if we want to take a look. Knock this out really quick. That's the top table. Cool. I think I can probably just paste that in there and then close that table. Man, this white space is killing me. Okay, this is killing me because I should just make this easier and just return. There you go. And then you need that in there. And that didn't make it much better. Oh, I didn't. No, I did. Yeah, that's not any better, but whatever. So yeah, looking at these, comparing these two layout options. We have one where I guess this is technically a bit different because we're putting the key right next to the value. But in theory, the key would be like up on top. So date on top and properties on the left, or properties on top and dates on the left. Horizontal scanning or vertical scanning? What do you think? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. It might also make sense to take into account how many days we have. We have 8 elements of data, which means the maximum either direction would be 8. But the properties that we have on these, maybe not a table, but some kind of box. Yeah, I mean, we can also change it from being a table or visually looking like a table to looking like more of a box, where you have like all of the information for day 1 and then the next day. But that's still, I guess the question is, if we have a big box and then another big box with all of the information for each day, do we still want that information? Do you want to scan the data where vertically or horizontally, where the information for the first day takes up like the whole width of the screen, and then the next day is the whole width of the screen? Or do we want it where that information is kind of vertical and you scan like left to right? And the reason why I think left to right might make sense is because, well, let's see. Weather forecast. Because in the context that I am most familiar with, yeah, you have kind of this like left to right scanning for a forecast like that. They even do the time that way. Oh, and this would be a really cool way to do the time, actually. We could totally do that with an SVG. Uh, yeah, they're not using arrows, but they're using north, south, east, and west. We could fix that. We could do both. But if we look at weather forecasts, oh, come on, hourly. There you go. This is what I want. Today's weather. Okay, so this is cool. They have morning, afternoon, evening, and night as well. We have access to that information. I like this sort of layout that I want to get to as well. Something like that. But kind of to your point, like they have this big box, right? So, it's also kind of makes me wonder if why I'm building this thing, because this works really well. But I think for mobile devices, there's not a good option. And besides, we're like having fun building stuff anyway. So hourly forecast, they go side to side as well. Maybe that's the right choice. Daily forecast, there you go, side to side. How what do you think? The hourly forecast here, we're going vertical. We'll get something that looks more cool like this as well. We'll build in some of this fun stuff. Definitely. Well, I don't know. I'll take a look around. What is this? Screensaver. Oh, that's really cool. Stefan. Cool dude. Yeah, I think I'm going to play around with like looking at some of the design stuff now and get some inspiration, and then maybe start building that. Let's see what, well, the other question is, what do they do on small screens? They kind of, yeah, kind of, it still works. I think this whole thing changes. No? Yeah, okay. Changes onto a different thing. I don't know, but that's all the time we got for stuff today. This was a fun little look at, let's see, we looked at some coloring stuff with dark mode and light mode support in mind. We did a lot of table or like just general utility CSS spacing stuff. I like it because it makes things easy to just tack on as much as you need without having to write more CSS. And yeah, we'll figure out. I think that horizontal story might make sense. The problem is when you're working with horizontal things, they kind of fall apart at small screens. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can only really fit 5 hours of forecast in there and 5 days, whereas ours, at least right now, for the amount of data that we're putting in there, our hourly forecast, I mean, we go into multiple days. So maybe that's not what we want, but we'll see. We'll figure it out. All right. Well, I will be back on tomorrow to continue this. In the meantime, I think I'm going to take a look at some other examples and start to do something maybe sort of similar to how they break out their content here. And yeah, we'll have some fun with it. Cool. Well, thanks for hanging out, and I will catch you hopefully tomorrow at 3. See ya.